She's the smoke show of the 80s, and he's a man who runs so much you'd think he's going for a marathon. Can our contestants connect Kim Basinger to Tom Cruise? We're going to find out on today's 5 to 9. Welcome to 5 to 9, the movie game for movie fans. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg, and we're coming to you from Asbury Park's premier movie theater, the Showroom Cinema. Do you love movies? Do you love getting lost in the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database? Do you love talking through, oh, who is that guy? Who is in that thing? What's his face? Then this is your show, and this game is for you. Our first guest is a man who cries at the end of Rocky III every time. He's the editor of Soup Can Magazine, Chris Rockwell. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for letting everyone know that.
Chris,
that was supposed to be for us.
Chris, why does Rocky III make you cry? Is it Thunder Lips played by Hulk Hogan, or is it Clubber Lang played by Mr. T?
It's when Mickey dies. Thank you. It's when Mickey dies.
Oh, yeah, no, that would probably, I feel bad now for making jokes about Clubber Lang and Thunder Lips. So. I feel a little bad. But, Chris, can you tell me why you want to see The Sword in the Stone remade?
Because I think it would be a good candidate for those movies that Disney's doing where they do live action versions of animated films. And I would like to see more talking squirrels represented in cinema.
Okay, representation, right? Squirrel representation in cinema. And they should be played by real squirrels. We don't want to have like human actors playing the squirrels because those parts should go to real squirrels.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank you I feel so seen.
So, Chris, tell me about Soup Can Magazine.
Soup Can is a quarterly art and poetry rag that we have based in Ocean County. I put it together with my partner, Amanda, and we have contributors from around the state, country, even the world now. We're putting together pop-up events throughout the state, and it's basically showcasing original art, poetry, and we even do some interviews with musicians and stuff like that. We have a tour story where we have a poet or musician talk about the best or worst thing that's ever happened to them on tour.
I love that. Best or worst.
Yeah, it can't just be a regular story. Like, tell me either the best or the worst thing that's ever happened to you on tour, and that's what we publish.
Yeah, now you've been on tour as well. In fact, you are the front person of the Chris Rockwell Collective, an alternative hip-hop crew. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So we have, basically it's my songs, and we have a crew that plays live with us, and we putting together some stuff together. But we play shows, we put together some events. We play a lot of the Soup Can pop-up tours, and it's just a way to play live with some live musicians.
Okay. So, Chris, thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to play the game, but first, we're going to introduce our next guest. He is a man who's editor at large for Talk Film Society, and he wants to see Breakfast Club remade. Folks, let's welcome to the show, Matt Curione. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Matt, can you tell us what would be your dream casting? I'm putting you on the spot here for a modern Breakfast Club.
I don't know modern actors.
Oh, that's a problem.
The new up-and-comers, I have no idea.
Okay.
My whole concept for the remake is just remake it every 10 years with a new generation of kids.
Sure.
And just have it relate to them.
Perfect. So if we're going to make the Breakfast Club now and it's going to relate to them, they'll be staring at their phones the entire movie. They won't look up. They won't make connections. They won't change. End of movie.
You release it on TikTok.
Yeah. Put it on TikTok.
There you go.
There you go.
And one of them will be Timothy Chalamet.
I was going to say,
there we go.
Tiny Tim can be on it.
Okay, so does Timothy Chalamet, what do you think? Do you think he plays the Emilio Estevez part or the Judd Nelson part?
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson?
He plays Judd Nelson.
Okay. Anthony Michael Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
He's getting a little big for that.
No, you got Tom Holland for that.
Oh,
for
that's
Anthony
a good
Michael
one.
Hall.
Good call.
That's a good one. See, we're casting
it
already. Look at us.
He's a dork.
You know.
So
Come
you
on,
get
you
him.
know.
We're going. So, Matt, can you tell me about Talk Film Society?
It is a podcast network, and there's about 10 different podcasts on there. It's a lot of fun. My podcast is on there. There's a few other ones. There's a really ridiculous Steven Seagal podcast on there that's called Steven Destroy, where my buddy James and his friend have been punching themselves for 2 years watching every Steven Seagal movie. My podcast is Monsters Never Die. It's my buddy Jacob and I, and we go through classic monster movies and horror movies, and then we talk about their sequels, remakes, ripoffs, and we have a lot of fun.
I love it. I love it. So, Matt, what would you say is like your favorite monster sequel or maybe remake? modern day
Fright Night.
Fright Night. Okay, why?
Because I prefer it to the original. I think Colin Farrell is really impressive in that. David Tennant is an awesome Peter Vincent. Anton Yelchin is terrific. What's her name? She's great as the mom in it. Toni Collette. She's great as the mom. The action is great. It has a nice throwback to the original with Chris Sarandon making a cameo and quickly getting murdered. I'm a sucker for any movie set in Vegas. Like, that's a perfect place to set a vampire movie.
Okay.
And they just went with it, and they did a really good job.
I love the idea of a vampire movie in Vegas on account of it's the city that never sleeps, and
everything's at night.
Nice.
Perfect. Feeding around. And Colin Farrell's just astounding in that movie.
I mean,
he's
a real vampire, though, right? In real life.
In real life, yeah.
Right, representation, right?
And it takes a real man to wear puce.
No, I don't think that counts.
Good movie. Yeah, that one. That's a good one.
All right, guys. So before we play 5 to 9, we're going to do a little warm-up round. Before the show, we asked you both to write down the names of 5 actors, and we're going to pull one of those names out of the hat and give you 60 seconds to name as many of their movies as possible. Any movie they've been in is going to count. Jason's going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Jason, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are they ready?
Gentlemen, are you ready?
Maybe.
Sure.
Lightning round.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
a little warm-up. We have 60 seconds to name. Oh, this is a good one. Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. 60 seconds. Go.
Twins.
Commando.
Kindergarten Cop. Batman and Robin.
End of Days.
That's 5.
I'm so proud that you said Commando. Terminator 1.
That's 6.
Terminator 2.
That's 7.
Terminator 3.
8.
Aftermath.
9.
Maggie.
Junior.
10. 11.
Raw Deal.
12.
Killing Gunther.
Hercules in New York.
4. Can we fact check some of these?
Go ahead.
Stay Hungry.
15.
Good for you.
Eraser.
16.
Did you say End of Days?
Yes, I did.
All right, don't count that one.
Not only End
the
of
Sixth
Days.
Day.
There we go.
The Sixth Day. Collateral Damage.
Terminator Salvation.
Fine. Terminator Dark Fate.
We're at 20.
Someone said Junior. You said Junior.
Yeah, we said Junior.
Okay.
Did you say Red Heat?
21.
No, I did not. Wow. Predator.
22.
How did it take us that
That
long
is
to say
time.
Predator?
That is time.
long
and that
time
may
to get to
be
Predator.
Well,
a
good for you,
record.
though. You
I was
had-
thinking Predator early. So the reason I laughed when I pulled this one is because when I introduced the idea of this as a round to my wife, she said that, it's going to kind of go down in flames sometimes. And I said, no, come on, it's super easy. Give me one. And she gave me Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I rattled off 17 or 18 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies in a minute just to show her that it could be done. And she was not at all impressed.
It was either last summer or the summer before where I just
It's
went
not-
on a binge and just watched like every Schwarzenegger movie.
But it wasn't.
Sure.
What we did was not impressive. Let's be clear about
Oh,
that.
I was
It
impressed
sad.
with 22.
It was sadder than it was impressive.
So when they made a sequel to Kindergarten Cop without Arnold Schwarzenegger, they made it with Dolph Lundgren.
Obviously.
And, Dolph Lundgren has been in many movies with Sylvester Stallone, who, originally cast him in Rocky IV and has since cast him in the Expendable movies. But when he found out that they were going to have him in Kindergarten Cop, the sequel, his remark was, "You gave him lines?"
That's filthy.
Apparently you're not supposed to do that with Dolph Lundgren because he's not, good at lines.
He can be. He can be a good actor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, look at Masters of the Universe.
There you go.
I was specifically
Punisher?
thinking Creed 2. Like, he's really good in Creed 2.
All right. Maybe he's got some chops since
It's actually
Kindergarten
true.
Cop 2.
Just might.
Maybe Universal Soldier.
Yeah.
Now we're on Dolph Lundgren movies. All right. So,
What
folks,
did you want to fact check?
I wanted to find out what was the name of the movie that you said before
Killing
Hercules New York?
Gunther.
Killing Gunther. What does that mean? Tell me about that movie.
Oh my God. I remember this.
It's
I've-
so good.
I haven't
right?
seen it, but
hilarious.
I've seen the
which
trailer
I will
many
confirm,
times.
by the way, 2017.
Oh, that's a newer movie. Okay, that's why I'm less aware of
Oh.
that. Is that the one that he's in with Johnny Knoxville?
No.
No, that's The Last Stand.
The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we had that one on the list.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, we have invited you here to play 5 to 9, the movie game where you'll have to connect 2 actors through no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies. I'm going to pull names out of the hat. You guys are going to open up your game pads.
Yay.
And you've got a pen, and you're going to put in your from spot. We're going to start with Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger, who at one point was married to Alec Baldwin. They had a very ugly divorce, but they did co-host They did co-host SNL together one time, and he asked her on stage, I'm always confused, is it Basinger or Basinger? Which is the right question to ask your wife on live TV, and I supported it. I thought it was a good call. And we're going from Kim Basinger to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise seems to be a recurring theme. A lot of episodes we wind up winding through him, but this time he is a goal. Now we're also going to give you a wild card, a third name that if you can go through that third name, you can get 3 bonus points. We're going to go through Kurt Russell if possible. That's not a requirement, but it is worth 3 points, so you do want to think about it. You'll also get 2 bonus points if you ever go through Kevin Bacon, our perennial wild card. Any SNL cast member's worth 1 point, and we're going to have a house rule today. Our house rule today is no ensemble pieces. So if you can avoid ensemble pieces, you will get 1 bonus point at the end of the game.
You're a lowlife.
You don't have to. It's worth a point. You don't have to take the point.
I should have just kept my mouth shut before.
All right. So, guys, before we get started, I want to tell you that Matt, Chris, you are going to be playing together. Jason and I will be here on the sideline to help along the way, but not too much. And we apologize in advance to all the actors who spent a career building a body of work whose faces we know but whose names we may butcher, and to all the hardworking writers, directors, and producers who picked the perfect name for a film that we may likely fumble through today. I swear we really do love your work. Matt, Chris, are you ready to play the game?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk it out. How do we get from Kim Basinger to Tom Cruise in no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies?
That's what's tripping me up. That it has to be at least 5, right?
Mhm. Otherwise, it's too easy.
Okay. So
1 to 2 doesn't make a good podcast. It's over before it begins. All right, guys, talk it out. What are movies Kim Basinger is in? How do we get from her to Tom Cruise? Maybe through Kurt Russell. And I can think of a really good Kurt Russell connection right off the bat.
So can I. But are you thinking Vanilla Sky?
I am, because Kurt Russell's in that with,
Tom Cruise.
and that would get us in 1 move from our wild card to our 2. So now all we
So
have
why
to
don't
do
we
is
go
I
get,
can get us there in
backwards?
2 movies.
that's the problem.
Right.
That's the challenge. So how do we get from Kim Basinger to Kurt Russell knowing we've got our wild card already in the bag right in the beginning?
Wait, can we reverse engineer it?
You can.
So let's start at Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Vanilla Sky with Kurt Russell, right? So how do we do this now? We write from Vanilla Sky. Oh, from Tom Cruise was in Vanilla Sky with Kurt Russell.
Sure.
Okay, got it.
So talk it out. What are some movies you can think of? Vanilla Sky, by the way, a remake of the Spanish language film Abre los ojos. Open your eyes.
I knew that actually. It's like the last line in the movie.
It is.
It's just, "Abre los ojos."
Uh-huh. Penelope Cruz.
She's great in that movie, by
She's
the
great
way.
in everything.
That is pretty true.
Except for Zoolander 2.
I don't agree with that.
You think she's great in Zoolander 2?
Sure.
They made a sequel to
I don't
Zoolander?
think anybody was good in Zoolander 2.
Wow.
You
I did
were
not
just
know they
like-
made a sequel.
Yeah, he was like, I guess I'll cross that off for movies I want to see a sequel of.
You've missed nothing.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so Kurt Russell was in all kinds of cool stuff.
Including your favorite movie.
That's right. You guessed it. Big Trouble in Little China.
That's my favorite John Carpenter. So
See,
there
that's
you
my
go.
dude
Now,
right
who,
there.
Who else was in that?
I'm forgetting his name, but he's the old man who's in Three Ninjas.
He's the
James
old
Hong?
man in
Yeah.
James Hong.
The guy
is
who's in like 800 movies.
That's
Thank you.
correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
Use that.
let's do that. All right,
Sure.
so Big Trouble in Little China.
We don't have to do that. Also,
You don't have to.
Kim Cattrall was in that movie too.
She was.
She's also in Mannequin,
She is.
which is one of my all-time favorite pieces.
Another one I
of
haven't
crap
seen.
movies.
This is
They made a sequel to that too.
Awful. Imagine making an awful sequel to an awful movie.
I grew up with the sequel, so that was the only one that I knew.
Yike.
And then I saw the original, and it was much more adult themed than the sequel. I feel like in the 80s,
Right.
in the 80s, we had a history of that. They would make R-rated movies and then market them to kids and then make the sequel more toned down.
Damn right.
So like RoboCop and Terminator
right.
that were definitely marketed toward kids.
With action figures.
Ghostbusters, they definitely kidded up the second one. And I
Oh, yeah.
feel like definitely Mannequin, the second one was a lot more silly.
So we are doing Big Trouble with James Hong.
We don't have to do that. We're not married to it, but I
Okay.
think it'll work.
Well, James Hong is in a million
Oh,
things.
he already did. No, you're committed to it. I'm in.
Because now I can get us here in, wait, James Hong was in,
Is it H-O or is it H-U-A?
I think it's O.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's in a movie right now that's nominated for a lot of Academy Awards.
Yeah. He's pretty good in it too.
He is.
Let's see.
As an android,
James
not an
Hong.
android, as a cyborg.
Hold on.
The
I think I
difference,
might have it.
listeners,
I think I
between
might
an
have it.
android and a cyborg is that an android is completely computerized, whereas a cyborg is part human and part mechanical. And we're going to find out how Matt has it right after the break.
Hey, it's producer Jason stepping in here real quick to thank you for listening to 5 to 9, a movie game podcast. We're actually really excited to bring this show back for its new season with new and improved audio and video. If you listen to the audio version, make sure you subscribe on your podcast app of choice to make sure you get the newest episodes as soon as they release. And if you want to watch the video as well, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Links to all of these can be found at 5to9game.com. Okay, you followed? You there? You got it? Great. Let's get back to the show.
I don't have it.
Oh no, we're back from the break and Matt doesn't have it as sure as he did before the break. Guys, how are we going to get from James Hong, who's in hundreds and hundreds of films? How could we possibly get through that
Isn't he in Gremlins?
to Kim
No.
Basinger? That is a different old Asian man. It's the only other one.
Stop. Stop.
We're getting head shakes.
James Hong was in Chinatown
He
With
was
Jack
in Chinatown.
Nicholson,
with Jack Nicholson.
That's
who
yeah.
correct.
was in
Ooh. Well, that gets us back to Tom Cruise.
Batman with Kim Basinger, but it's
Yes.
not enough.
You're right. It's not enough. It'd be 4 movies. That was a good 4, though. But we need 5. James Hong was in, say it again,
Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Let's write that down. We got some people in that. Why not?
So
Jack Nicholson or whoever else you want to go through. You're absolutely right that if we went from Jack Nicholson, whose childhood home is currently for sale in Neptune, if you were interested. From Jack Nicholson to Kim Basinger in Batman is 4 movies. So how do we go out and come back? How do we go a different route? Get there a little later.
all right, I have a good one. Okay.
Okay.
Kim Basinger was in 8 Mile with Eminem,
That's true.
who was in
Oh, yeah, she was.
who was in Funny People with Adam Sandler, Eric Bana, Seth Rogen,
Seth Rogen's in that.
Jonah Hill. We could do this because there's all kinds of people in that movie.
Okay. So how do we get from them to somebody from Chinatown or to James Hong some other
So
way?
I'm thinking we could still do Jack Nicholson is my point.
With Jack Nicholson.
Okay. How do we get from anybody in Funny People to Jack Nicholson? And there's a very easy one. Who is the star of Funny People?
Adam Sandler.
And he was in a movie with Jack Nicholson.
Called Anger Management.
There we go, guys. We did it. We did it. Oh my goodness. This might be a record. Let's jot it down. We've got Anger Management. I'm jotting stuff down as fast as I can. I'm so glad we got Eminem in there. Eminem also had a role in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4,
The Interview.
5. The Interview is exactly where I was going to go, where he came
Hilarious.
out. And you know what? Good for him.
Yeah, so we got Chinatown, Jack Nicholson, Anger Management, Adam Sandler, Funny People, Eminem, 8 Mile.
Oh, I see my problem over here. Give me 1 second. I got to move some stuff around on my card because I did the classic blunder where I wrote Kim Basinger, Eminem, and I got to write 8 Mile.
And we got it in 6.
We did.
Look at us go.
Let's go. So, all right, I'm going
Who'd have
to
saying right there.
I'm going to recap it. I could not be more proud of you guys.
Hey.
Let me put down 8 Mile over here on my game board. Anybody watching on Zoom, they're going to love my chicken scratch handwriting and possibly bad spelling. So we started with Kim Basinger, and she is in 8 Mile with, yes, Eminem, who has a small part in Funny People with Adam Sandler, which I'll be honest, it was too long of a movie.
Agreed.
It's a 3-hour comedy that barely made me laugh.
So it's an Apatow film.
It is an Apatow film, but most of them
Yike.
make me laugh. He's in Anger Management with Jack Nicholson, who's in Chinatown with James Hong, who's in Chris's favorite film.
Big Trouble in Little China.
There we go. So Chinatown and Little China. I feel like James Hong might have been typecast as an Asian guy, as a Chinese guy. But let's see. Big
That's
Trouble
not how that
had
works.
Kurt Russell, who was in Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise. That is 6 movies. We're going to do 10 minus 6 is 4 points. For the wild card, Kurt Russell, you will get 3 points. Now, you're not going to get 2 points on Kevin Bacon. Jason, do you have any Kevin Bacon connections for us through any of this?
I do. We can get from Kim Basinger through Cool World to get to Brad Pitt, who was in 8 with Kevin Bacon.
That is correct.
And actually, Kevin
and also Sleepers.
That was my connection as well.
Kevin Bacon through A Few Good Men to get to Tom Cruise.
There we go. But that
which
would
is
have
the
been
only
too
movie they
fast.
shared.
Also, though, I will tell you, Kevin Bacon was in Murder in the First with Christian Slater, who was in Interview with the Vampire with Tom Cruise. So
now, if we skip the Kevin Bacon and we want to go just as direct as possible, which I know is not how we play the game, but the most direct route, from working backwards from Tom Cruise, we still go through A Few Good Men to get to Kevin Pollak, who gives us Wayne's World 2 with Kim Basinger.
That is correct. That is correct. Where her character was.
Cross your T's and dot those lowercase J's.
That was Pollak's character, but the name of Kim Basinger's character, last name was Horney, where she uttered the classic line, "Take me, Garth," and he said, "Where? I'm low on gas and you need a jacket."
Do you like lunch? I have it mostly every day. Yeah.
So, guys, we're not going to get the Kevin Bacon points. Did you get any points on the house rule for avoiding ensemble casts? I'm going to say 8 Mile, not an ensemble. Funny People. I'm going to say it's not an ensemble.
Yeah, no, that's a Sandler.
But we got
It's got
an
a lot of
SNL
smaller
cast
parts.
member.
We do Adam Sandler for SNL cast. That's worth a bonus point. And with no ensemble cast, you get the house rule. That gets you 4, 7, 8, and a mighty 9 points and a win. Chris Rockwell,
Hey.
thank you so much for being here. Matt Curione, thank you so much for taking the time to be on 5 to 9 today, for playing our game. You've each won the official 5 to 9 gamepad, which comes with 50 game cards and is also available now at 5to9game.com. Listeners, make sure to check out Soup Can Magazine wherever Soup Can magazines are sold, and also make sure to check out Talk Film Society. You can Google it and find it on the internet. You can also find Matt on his podcast, Monsters Never Die, and find Chris Rockwell playing in Asbury Park and around the globe with his Chris Rockwell Collective. If you 5 to 9ers listening out there in the podcast ether were chomping at the bit, yelling out a better solution to today's challenge as we play through it, enter for a chance to come on the show by beating us at our own game. Get your official 5 to 9 game cards at 5to9game.com. That's the number 5, T-O, the number 9 game.com. Play today's challenge, post your game card on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and tag at 5 to 9 game in your post. High scores, as well as creativity and entertainment value, will all be considered. This has been 5 to 9. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg. Our show is recorded at the Showroom Cinema on Cookman Avenue in historic Asbury Park, New Jersey. Our producers are Jason Portizo and Laura Ginsberg. Our theme music, Monday Night on an Otherwise Empty Beach, is by me and is available on all streaming platforms. Subscribe to the 5 to 9 podcast through the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube if you guys want to look at our faces too, or literally anywhere else you get podcasts. Follow and play along with us on social media at 5 to 9 game on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can play today's challenge or make up your own and play with or against the global 5 to 9 community. Just don't forget to tag at 5 to 9 game when you do. Thanks for listening, and let's play together again soon.